Going on, Jeromes? Beautiful day for some Q&A. Thank you, everyone who submitted questions on the community tab. First up is Brother Daniel. Let Darnold walk. It's JJ's job to lose. Spend your money on offensive line. I'm tired of seeing Bradbury on his back. Yes. I don't even think that was a question, but yes, I agree on all points. Where, Bradbury, they've given him many years, many opportunities, but it just hasn't come together. And every single year, it's just like, oh, this is the year. He's added size, best shape of his life, in the gym. The anchor will be there, but yeah, just not there. And yes, he's got great short area movement skills, and yes, he's a solid run blocker. He's a solid leader, but pass protection just has not been it. And both guard spots as well as a center need to be examined and need to be overturned. And yeah, it is J.J. McCarthy's job to lose. And I'm someone who was advocating for Darnold to be back in 2025 just a couple weeks ago. That's how bad the Lions and the Rams game were. Because if he had just played average, right, or just a slightly above average or even good, the way that he played all season, and the Vikings still lost, you could live with that, and then it would still be a discussion. But everything fell apart. It's not all on him. Yes, you look at the offensive line and Kevin O'Connell too, but a lot of it was on him. And all of the short passing game, it would have been great if he could have put it in the same area as Aaron Jones on a nice little swing pass. Like, how can you not complete a 4-yard pass? Just kind of ridiculous. But, the plan always was, Bradbury, the bridge quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, draft to be the guy. It's his show now. And the plan took a detour, but now we are back. We are so back, baby. Next up, Swanks, the Tiger. Top 5 free agent prospects of the upcoming season ranked in need, assuming they let Darnold walk. So, for me, the Vikings are in an interesting spot because they have a ton of cap space, about $72 million. Now, yeah, some of that is going to go on their own guys, but they can free up as much cap space as they want. They can restructure Brian O'Neill. They can do a lot of things, right? And I think that for offensive line and cornerback, especially if Flores is back, I think that he trusts veterans more than he trusts rookies coming in. Right, and that's fair. And also, interior offensive line, stop throwing a dart hoping that a guy is good. Get players that are good all up in there, right? And you can spend draft capital on interior defensive line, especially since they can be rotational guys that can work their way in. Also, running back, which is another need for the Vikings. Again, one of those positions where it is rotational because offensive line, you don't sub. Cornerback, you generally do not sub either. So that's why I would prefer investing in money in guys that don't come off the field, right? So offensive line, Trey Smith is obviously 1-1-1-1 no matter what, right? And also Tevin Jenkins is certainly up there as well. I just love his nasty streak. Physically getting after things, formerly at Oklahoma State, transitioned inside to guard extremely well. Plus, taking him away from the Bears, be a good idea. Center-wise, so there's options. So Ryan Kelly of the Colts has always been a stud in my mind. He's the only decent offensive lineman that Ryan Grigson, Vikings assistant GM, ever drafted in Indianapolis. But he's a little bit older. I believe he's 31, going to be 32 next season. But you do have Dahlman from the Falcons. Now, Dahlman is sort of cut from the same cloth as Garrett Bradbury. Bit undersized, yes. Yes, we're going to go through that again. Is 28. Great outside zone. Center was a key part to Bijan having a great season running. Does need to work on that anchor. So it is, to a degree, sort of like bashing your head up against the wall. So in that regard, maybe I would lean Ryan Kelly as I'm talking this thing out in real time. Who knows? Cornerbacks-wise, so Javarius Ward, the Ward family went through a tragedy when his daughter passed away this year. So I don't know if he's even going to play coming up. Wouldn't really blame him. But if he's going to play in 2025, I mean, he's an extreme talent, and I think that taking him away from San Francisco would be great. Also, you got DJ Reed. Now, Reed is an undersized corner. He's 5'9", the pride of Kansas State, but he is feisty. He is dynamic. Plus, he's battle-tested, man, because quarterbacks generally will shy away from Sauce Gardner, so they're always looking to throw at 4, and DJ Reed has stood up to all of that, and he's a fantastic cornerback, and I think that he would do great here with the Vikings. So, off the cuff, that's my top 5 free agents. I'm sure that we missed someone. Oh, defensive line-wise, Milton Williams from Philly. I think that he's going to get a lot of attention. Also, I've had my heart set on Osa Digizua ever since he was at UCLA, now formerly of Dallas. So I think that there's going to be a lot of names out there, and it's going to be great. Next, Steven Lacrae. O'Connell is now 0-2 in the playoffs. This staff and team can do it. The right quarterback and collection of gamers. It's hard to see right now who is the soul of the team going forward. Is it AVG and Pace? Darrisaw and Jefferson? Are those guys Super Bowl winners? I think it would be the soul of the team is Jefferson. Defensively, it might be Pace Jr. Because, I mean, everyone is just getting together and getting to know each other this year. Right? AVG, Grenard, Cashman, all free agents coming in, right? And I do think that Pace Jr. brings that edge and that chip to the defense that needs it, right? Because sometimes, I love the culture that they've built, but you look at the culture of some of the other teams still in the tournament. Now, I'm not saying dirty. But play with a chip. You look at Detroit, okay, kind of dirty. Philly, physical. You look at the Chiefs, especially on defense, physical. Their offensive line ain't nothing to sneeze at either. You look at the Bills. You look at the Ravens, especially. Like physical, tough, chippy. Vikings don't necessarily have that, except for Pace. So I think Pace is going to continue to grow and show in year 3. I think that he is a guy that's going to be a star in this league, and I think that he will be sort of the id of the defense. Offensively, Jefferson, it's his show. Right, and J.J. McCarthy coming in, I think it's one of the reasons why J.J. is good to go. But also, they just need a dog on that offensive line. Like, Brian O'Neill is a great leader, but I'm not saying I want Richie Incognito. But, like, Tevin Jenkins, his disposition, nasty, tough, physical. And I want that in my interior offensive line as well. Next, the DSP. Do you think Smith will stay if Flores stays? Yes. I think that if Flores leaves, the chances of Harrison Smith returning is about 5%. If Flores stays, I think Harrison coming back is about like 40%. Because I think that working relationship is so good, and Flores understands that Harrison is getting up there in age, but he continually puts him in good spots. Now Harrison, I mean, yeah, he's not as spry as he was back in 2017, but he's still out there making physical plays. He's still out there in coverage, and his instincts are great. And also, the communication on the back end was a big reason why the Vikings covered up for a lot of deficiencies in that secondary. All right, so I think if Flores is back, Harrison's probably back at a reduced rate. I don't know, maybe $5-6 million, but we'll see. But yeah, Harrison, I really don't see Harrison going anywhere else. I think that it's either him here with Flores or he retires and becomes a family man and all that stuff. Lastly, John Matthews, could Jets want out? Didn't like the looks he was giving on the sideline. Well, everyone was frustrated on the sideline. And also I love the shot of Jefferson, just staring at the Rams, everyone celebrating at midfield, burning in the retinas. And Jefferson, he hates to lose. And he hasn't won in the NFL the way that he won at LSU, that perfect season with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But he's had great success. Statistically, individually through 5 seasons. Winning-wise, a 13-win season, a 14-win season is fantastic. And now he's going to be on his 3rd quarterback with McCarthy coming in. Well, not 3rd. I mean, you have to count the Passionate as well as Mullins and Jaron Hall as well. But effectively, it's Cousins, Darnold, McCarthy. I think that if the coaching staff wasn't as good as it is, he loves Kevin O'Connell. He loves Keenan McCardle. If that was in flux, maybe. And if the Vikings didn't have a true bright future at quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, maybe he would. Like, say Jefferson was on the Raiders. He would definitely want out. But he's here. He understands he's the face of the team. He's got that contract, and he's all about winning. And he sees that the future is bright and the Vikings are on the cusp. And also, they did a hell of a lot of winning this year. All right, but eventually they have to make that step and start winning when it matters. That second season, when the wind gets cold and, the calendars turn to January, February, that's when they got to start winning. And they will, and I think Jefferson sees that. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. Q&A this beautiful day. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value.